Airways pilot Alastair Rosenschein then. Sorry to keep you hanging on, Alastair. Let's try and get an update on what we know, what we understand so far from what we've heard from the Prime Minister, the Malaysian Prime Minister, this morning. From your reading of this, is it likely then that this has in fact been hijacked by person or persons unknown?
Well, it's looking more like that is the case. However, I want to point out that modern aircraft have in their database, their flight management system, pre-programmed routes. If a route was programmed in, either deliberately or in error, the aircraft would follow that route, and that would take it over the airways. Whether or not somebody is actually on the flight deck commanding it after that point is another matter. It is possible for these aircraft to follow a route very, very accurately, entirely uncommanded. What is puzzling, however, is the fact that the ACARS system and the transponder appear to have been disabled or switched off or become unworkable at separate times, which would rather suggest that that was a deliberate action.
Within all of this, I mean, there's been some talk about whether the transponder, I mean, some people saying it would be quite easy to turn off if you sort of fuse it, in effect, from the cockpit. But I've heard other reports saying, actually, this would be a reasonably difficult thing to do. It's not something that every pilot, for example, would know how to do, how to switch that transponder off.
Well, you can simply press the button to move it into standby.
Simple as that?
Simple as that. Takes a second.
Right. Oh, well, that and then doesn't clear the situation up much easier with it as far as that is concerned. Are you surprised, but as a lot of people are, that contact has been so intermittent with this, in that communications transponder may be off, but there's military radar, there's satellite imagery, which seems to have painted, up until this point, a relatively confusing picture?
Well, indeed, it's very confusing. It's also taken several days for the authorities, whoever they may be, in this case from different countries, to put forward the information that the aircraft was still sending out radio pulses, albeit without carrying any data, and radar traces from different military radar. All this was available some time ago, presumably. No doubt they've done some form of triangulation with satellites and radar pictures to plot where this aircraft was flying to. What we do know is it had enough fuel to get from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, plus a little bit more for diversion and reserve. So that gives it a flight time of pretty much 5 hours. So it could actually have done, if you move an arc from Beijing, from the point it was lost, around the globe, as you can see, it could have gone as far as Pakistan, Australia, Sri Lanka, any number of destinations. So it's a question of whether or not this aircraft was hijacked or it was flying with an incapacitated crew.